Well, the Grand Vitara is here, and of course, Maruti Suzuki has been trying very hard to position itself strongly to the SUV segment, and of course, the Grand Vitara will be no less for Maruti Suzuki. And I'm joined by Senior Executive Director of Maruti Suzuki. Thank you, Shashank San. Pleasure as always to speak to you.
Thank you.
Congratulations for the
Thank
new
you very
launch,
much.
sir.
Thank you very much.
Tell us about the Vitara and tell us about on what platform would it be getting into India. By when would it be expecting into Indian markets? Give us the wholesome details,
Yeah,
please.
so today what you saw was the global unveiling of the Grand Vitara. And we would be starting production of this vehicle in August. In fact, on the second half of August. We generally plan build up of stock before we start sale. So I would expect the sale to start in September. As regards to what it will do for our segment, yes, I think our presence in the mid SUV segment was very minimal. And with this introduction, we do hope that we will do well in this segment as well.
Well, talking about the mid SUV segment, the Vitara would be a game changer for you. A segment first, probably. What about next few cars? Do you also plan to get into the wholesome SUV segment, where you have a good, where there's a good competition for you? Is there a plan to get into that segment also?
Absolutely. I have said this before that if you look at our non SUV market share, in that market our market share is upward of 65%, and that's the highest that we have had in the last 20 years. But when you combine it with SUV market share, then the market share gets pulled down below 50%, actually around 45%. And the reason is because our market share in SUV is quite low. However, if you further deep dive, then the SUV market is actually comprising of the entry SUV and the larger SUV. The entry SUV, we have the Brezza, which is doing extremely well. In fact, it's the market leader. So clearly, we need in our portfolio volumes coming from the mid SUV segment as well. The mid SUV segment is one of the largest segments in the industry. Almost 18% of the vehicles last year were mid SUV vehicles. In fact, the volumes are 530,000, 540,000. I'm going by the last financial year's figure. So clearly, with this, we would like to increase our share not only in SUV but also definitely it will help us in achieving our overall objective of 50% market share.
So tell us about the production of this vehicle, the manufacturing. Would it be in partnership with Toyota, and would also be would there also be a wholesale manufacturing by you, Maruti Suzuki, in its any of the plants? Or tell us about that, sir.
So it will be at the in Toyota starting from August, the Toyota plant near Bangalore in Bidadi. And that decision has been taken based on the forecast of volumes and the maximization of capacity utilization and efficiency. It was taken at that time. So clearly, we keep monitoring if at all it will be required to be made at any other place. However, at the moment, it will be produced only in the Toyota plant at Bidadi.
So tell us about the backlog of vehicles. The waiting time has been considerable for Maruti Suzuki, especially one of the highest in India. How do you plan to combat that? And with the new vehicle coming in, do you also have a plan for combating waiting time for this vehicle in particular?
Yeah, so you're right. Actually, there has been a buildup of pending bookings because of the semiconductor issue. The supply has got affected in the last since September of last year, August of last year, actually. So yes, that has led to the buildup of pending bookings. We have today. I was checking today morning, almost 340,000 bookings which are pending, which is substantial. So obviously, one of the big objectives which we have going forward is how to deliver these vehicles to the consumers, and we are very focused on increasing our production for reducing the waiting periods. As regards this, as I just mentioned to you, we obviously have the new capacity of production available from the Toyota plant, and definitely if the product does well, we would like to increase the production of this vehicle as well.
On to my last, that was my last set of questions, sir. The festive season is approaching, and Maruti really bets big on the festive season. There have been various reports of you giving a lot of consumer discounts and other offers for entry level vehicles also. So tell us about that, about the marketing strategy wherein you would be attracting new customers with new discounts and with new offers. What would that be, sir?
So clearly, and I think you rightly pointed out, it's a very important season for sales, and not just for Maruti Suzuki, for the entire industry. A large percentage of the annual sale comes from the festive season. A good thing is in our country, different states have different festive periods. So if you look at Kerala, for example, the festive season starts with the Onam the Chingam month, which starts on 17th of August. It then goes to the west. We have the Janmashtami and the Ganesh Chaturthi. Then travels to north, west, east, south, central part of the country. We have the Navratras and so on and so forth. So this is clearly very important, and I'm very confident that the festive season will be good this year. And I'm saying that because the last 2 quarters we have seen sales of 900,000 plus. And so it has been the first time in the auto industry in India that consecutive 2 quarters have given 900,000 plus volumes. So I'm quite confident. Of course, we need to watch out for some parameters like inflation, interest rates, how does the economy do, whether COVID makes a comeback. Is the semiconductor crisis over or not? As regards the discount question that you offered, I think in the last few years we have seen discounts not so high, even in the festive season, and primarily because we have seen the supply side getting affected. So I think the peak discounts you saw would have been in 2019-20, but 2021, 21-22, there weren't much discount. So it's clearly a equation of demand and supply. And we do see in this festive season, if there is a requirement, of course, we would like to give the consumers the best offers.
Are you foreseeing any impact on the rising interest rates, inflation, on a consumer buying sentiment? Because two-wheelers in particular have had a very bad year, in fact 1 or 2 years. What about your vehicles? Are you concerned, as Maruti Suzuki, are you concerned about inflation and rising interest rates, semiconductor shortage, 3 or 4 major things that have really affected buying sentiment?
Yes, yes. So you're right. Actually, auto industry depends a lot on the sentiment, positive sentiment of the buyers. You know, the sentiments can have a disproportionate effect on sales, both positively and negatively. And one of the things which affects negatively the sentiment is high fuel prices, high interest rates, economy, and that's why you would have seen there is a very high correlation between auto industry sales and the GDP per capita growth, which is the
In
economic
fact, the
growth.
government has also reduced the windfall tax on petrol and diesel. So,
Correct.
are you in fact foreseeing any impact?
Correct. So I was just telling you that sentiments get affected by all those things. And that's the reason why, if you look at the past data, not only in India, across the globe, economy and auto industry sales are very closely related. So you are right. It is possible that if you have high inflation, high interest rate, high fuel prices, the economy doesn't do as well as thought of. And that's clearly one area we have flagged that we are monitoring very closely, just to see whether it has an adverse impact on the overall demand for the industry.
Any price hike being mulled right now? Commodity prices have softened, but any price hike that you're foreseeing?
Yeah, so on the price hike, it's not as if we take a decision on one single day. We keep monitoring our cost structure. It gets affected, as you said, by commodity prices big time, because 75 to 77% of the overall cost structure in any auto OEM is actually material cost. So commodity prices does affect big time the cost structure. So we are currently monitoring the situation. At the moment, yes, you did mention rightly, commodities have softened a little bit, but they are still very high when you compare it with the last 2 years before.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.